All right, class, we are on WOOF Review Set 3, Slide 5. Today, number 25, we are going to simplify. If you remember, simplify means to make smaller. Simplify, smaller. Simplify, smaller. So when we are working with fractions, I want you to remember that if you are making it bigger or smaller, you do one of two things. You multiply or divide. So if you're making it bigger, you are going to multiply, and if you're going to make it smaller, you're going to divide, okay? So we are going to figure out what can go into both 12 and 48. So what we could do is we could list the factors for both and find the highest common factor and divide by that. We could also look and say that 12 and 48 are both even, and what number goes into even numbers? Well, 2 does. So we could simply just divide by 2, and whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. And when I do that, I get 6/24. That did make it smaller. It did not make it to its simplest form, meaning its smallest form. Let's go ahead and list the factors for 12. So the factors for 12 are 1 and 12, 2 times 6. To figure out if 3 goes in, we do the addition there. And if it's a multiple of 3, which 3 is a multiple of 3, then 3 goes in. 3 times 4. Our next number is 4. We get to a number we've used, we stop. Let's do 48. So we obviously have 1 times 48. 2 goes in because it's even. It goes in 24 times. Let's see if 3 does. 4 plus 8 is 12. So it does. 3, 6, 9, 12. So we know it goes in. So 3 actually goes in, the math in my head, 16 times. Let's see if 4 goes in. 4 does. 4 goes in 12 times. Will 5 go in? No, because this number in the ones place has to be a 5 or a 0. Let's do 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. 6 times 8 is 48. Let's try 7s. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. Nope. Next number is 8. We get to a number we've used, we stop. So now let's try to find our highest common factor. So we both have a 1. We don't have a 48 over on the left. We both have a 2. We don't have a 24 over on the left. We both have a 3. We don't have a 16 over on the left. We have a 4. We have a 6, and we have a 12. We do not have an 8. So our highest is 12. So what we could do is take 12 48s and divide by 12. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 12 divided by 12 is 1, and 48 divided by 12 is actually 4. Now, this is in its simplest form. You could still get 1/4 by doing more up here to 6/24. Well, what goes into both 6 and 24? 2 does. So we could still do a 2 again because it's even, and that would go in 3/12. Well, that's still not in its simplest form. What goes into both 3 and 12? Well, 3 does. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and we get 1/4. So it just said to simplify, so you could have just gone as simple as 6/24. You could have done it all different kinds of ways. If it said to get to its simplest forms, that's when you would have to get to 1/4. Here we're going to find the difference. Remember, the difference, we go like this with the 2 F's to remind us, excuse me, that we're going to subtract. So I'm going to take 70,541 minus 34,887. Say it with me. If I have 1, can I take away 7? Nope. Go next door and get 10 more. Instead of 4, I have 3. Instead of 1, I bring over a 10, so now I have 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. If I have 3, can I take away 8? Nope. Go next door and get 10 more. Instead of 5, I have 4. Bringing that over, that 10 over, now I have 13. 13 minus 8 is 5. If I have 4, can I take away 8? Nope. go next door and get 10 more again, but they don't have any next door, so I have to go all the way over to my 10,000s place. Instead of 7, I have a 6 there. Now I can have a 10 here. Now I can borrow, making this a 9, making that a 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 6 minus 3 is 3. My answer is 35,654. I could check my work by, I'm going to change that color, adding these two numbers. Let's do that. Let's see what we get when we do that. I'm going to change the color. 7 plus 4 is 11. Make that a 9. 9 plus 5, 1 less than 5 is 4, so it's 14. Ooh, we're making a 9 again. 9 plus 6, 1 less than 6 is 5, so it's 15. Here, I made a 5, so 5 plus 5 is 10. Here, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. We come up with the first number we started with, so our answer of 35,654 is correct. All right, this is asking which equals 68 hundredths. So I have 6 tenths plus 8 hundredths. I have 4 tenths plus 4 hundredths. On both of these, if our denominator is the same, we keep it the same. Well, our denominators are not the same, so we have got to do something to our denominators. So I am going to try to make 10 into 100. How do I do that? Well, I know that 10 times 10 is 100. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So now instead, I have 60 hundredths plus 8 hundredths. My denominator is the same, we keep it the same. 60 plus 8 is 68. That matches, but I never just stop because you never know, there might be more than one answer. Here I'm gonna go ahead and try to make this into 100. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. This makes it 40 100ths plus 4 hundredths equals 44 hundredths, which does not match our target. So A is the answer. We're gonna write 3 tenths as a decimal. Remember, when we do this, we have our ones place, our tenths place, and our hundredths. Ones, tenths, hundredths. So we have no whole numbers there, and we have a 3 in the tenths place. Your tenths, remember, are your dimes. This is your tenths place. So we would write it like that. Now, this is your answer, 0 and 3 tenths. If I would have added a 0 behind it, this would actually say 30 hundredths. So that would actually not be right. It is the same because we know that the 3 in the tenths place is 30, but it's just asking for 3 tenths. So this is okay, but without it is better. All right, on 29, we're gonna graph 7 tenths and 1 tenth. So I have 1 tenth right here. That's where I would graph 1 tenths. And I have 7 tenths right there. That's where I would graph them. Then it asks which is closest to 1 whole. Well, obviously 7 tenths because it's only 3 away, where 1 tenth is much further away. All right, so my answer would be 7 tenths is closest to 1 whole, and that's how I graph it. I hope you did well on these today.